Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kaitlin if you're new here, and the channel is all about DIY shopping, travel, and lifestyle. And today we're doing another DIY project. My back wall in my bedroom was pretty bare, so I had a few ideas that I wanted to try to execute. This is more like a DIY project. There was some trial and error, but we got it done, and I'll let y'all be the judge of how it came out. If you're interested, then stick around. So the first project, I keep seeing all of these tapestry, wall art scrolls, and every time I see one, it looks like it's really expensive, and I was like, I feel like I can make that, which is usually how most of my DIY projects actually start off. So the first thing that I did, I went to Dollar Tree, because usually around like a holiday time, they have pretty good pieces that you could take apart and use. Well, I lucked out because Dollar Tree had these Easter like yard signs, and they had these nice wooden stakes that were pretty long, and the Dollar Tree that I went to had these really small magnets. Definitely glad that it came in a pack of 7, as you'll see later, because I thought I could only use like 4, 2 on each end. No. But we'll look at that later. The only thing I needed was a canvas, so I thought I could get some at the Dollar Tree, but they were just a little bit too small. So I ended up actually going to Five Below, which has these 2-pack of canvas for $5. So to start off, I decided to cut the point off of the wooden stake. So this way we had 4 even pieces that would be perfect to hold the canvas. The next thing that I wanted to do, I decided to paint mine black. I know a lot of the time when I see them, they're like this natural wood stained, but of course these, as you've seen, these stakes were bright pink. I didn't have many options at the Dollar Tree. They were like pastel colors. It's Easter time. So I let that dry for a bit and then just kept adding coats until I got the desired look that I wanted. If I were to do this project again, which I probably will, I really liked it. If I were to do it again, then I would probably paint the inside. I was kind of thinking that I didn't need to paint the inside because you're not going to see it, but from certain angles, I think that you can. But straight on, no problems. You can't see it. So while that was happening, I decided to take off the canvas and cut it so that the stapled part was not going to be part of the canvas any longer. So after I took all the staples out, I was reading. I have never done this before where I put either vinyl on canvas, but I thought when I was doing this that I wanted to put vinyl on the canvas, which I did, but in a different way than I was thinking at first. So I read that you should paint the canvas so that the vinyl can stick better. So I decided to go ahead and paint the canvas white and then prepare my design in Cricut Design Space. So the saying that I decided to put on this canvas is something that I say often to myself, which is be mindful, be present, and be focused. So like I said, I thought I wanted to do permanent vinyl versus heat transfer, but when I was getting ready to do it, I realized I would much rather weed this out with heat transfer. It ended up working out beautifully. Heat transfer vinyl is just so much easier to work with. You can manipulate it, move it around, and get it in the right place that you want to get it in before you actually press down with the heat. So it works out so much better, in my opinion, than permanent vinyl. I peeled it back to see if there were any spots that I needed to put the heat press back on, which there were, but no big deal. Everything works out fine. After it's cooled off a little bit, I peeled it back and it looked great. I was so excited. So the next thing that I wanted to work on, of course, my wooden stakes were fully dry by this point, and now it's time to add the magnets. So I decided to use some hot glue to put the magnets down. So the one thing that I wanted to make sure was that I had the magnets where they were magnetized and that I didn't get it mixed up Otherwise, this wouldn't have worked at all. When I initially did it, I made sure to see where the canvas would fall so that the magnets would actually make a sandwich with the canvas. I thought I would only need 2 on the ends of each corner of the canvas, and I was sorely mistaken. Didn't work, but that's where I'm fast forwarding. The next thing that I wanted to do was hot glue the twine at the top of the scroll that I was going to be making. I thought I only needed the twine on the back, and I thought that would be fine. But once I picked it up, I realized that that wasn't gonna work. It was way too heavy. I ended up having to put the twine on the front post as well as the back post of the top one so that it would hold properly. I also ended up having to use all of the magnets that were in that little pack. Once I actually put all of the magnets on the post, like everything seemed to work so much better. I was kind of thinking that this was a lost cause for a second, but it worked out. So this is how it turned out. I will be making another one, maybe have one in my office, my clawface, I should say. This wall is a work in progress. I kind of want to do wallpaper, but right now, since I haven't really decorated that much in my house and I've been here almost 3 years, like that was something that I feel like I needed to do. So this next project I decided to make was with nautical rope. I feel like I'm kind of obsessed with nautical rope. I keep seeing those like woven plates on Pinterest, and I wanted that kind of vibe. So I decided to just go in a circular pattern with this nautical rope using Mod Podge. I don't know why I did this instead of hot glue. It did turn out great. Well, I'll say it turned out fine. It turned out the way that I was hoping it would, because by soaking the nautical rope in the Mod Podge, the nautical rope in the end completely hardened. And so we'll see that in a minute. But I decided to use my Mod Podge, which I had this Mod Podge on hand and I ended up using like all of the Mod Podge that I have on hand. But I ended up using 4 of the nautical rope, and I put down parchment paper thinking that it would easily come up, but we'll see that in a minute. I thought it was like baking. Like if you use parchment paper, things easily come up, but anyways, so I let this dry overnight, and I was kind of thinking in the morning that the Mod Podge wasn't actually going to hold the nautical rope and I should have used hot glue, but it turned out fine. I knew that I was going to be hanging this, so I didn't want it to just unravel and fall apart. So I decided though that I was going to try to take the parchment paper off, but it worked out all right, to the point where nothing was coming off. The only thing I decided I was going to do was add some hot glue to the last bit of rope at the end so that would stay together. But other than that, everything seemed to be fine as long as I wasn't like crazy manipulating it. So I added popsicle sticks to the back so that it would stay together. As we discussed last time, there is a design rule of 3, so I can't put these 2 wall hangings up together, just the 2 of them. So I need at least 1 more. I do have another project coming. It's just taking me way longer than I expected. It's taking me longer than I expected. Once you see it, you'll understand why. For now, I'm just gonna put these 2 up. I started looking at the nautical rope and this other project that I have, and I was like, this is starting to look a little too monochromatic in a natural way. So I wanted to add some color to this nautical rope wall plate. Of course, I always have spray paint laying around. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do a black and a copper or black and like a sage green, but I decided to do black and copper, and I think it turned out okay. So some of the spray paint did splatter. If I didn't have this other piece that was already the same or similar color, I probably would have left the nautical rope alone. But because of that, I had to do something. Yeah, y'all see soon. So this is how my nautical rope plate came out. So all I did to the back was add some twine for the plate to actually hang on. I added it with some hot glue. All right, y'all, so those are the 2 DIY projects that I worked on for my new accent wall. I really like it, but the only thing that I may do is add black paint to the rest of the natural rope, since I did make that splatter. It's kind of bothering me more than I thought it would. I hope that you enjoyed them and enjoyed this video. If you did, then make sure to let me know down below. Give this video a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe. I will see y'all on the next one. All right, bye. Here comes Avery for the last part of the video.